If people would talk to each other more, they could learn to understand each other more. And if people understood each other more, I believe there could be a lot less conflict, a lot less problems, and all that kind of stuff, really.
If I knew Shortney, I would not be sitting here asking you. I'm about to ask, if they ask African American, what is this?
It's kind of like an open forum to ask the questions and have the conversations that typically aren't asked.
Speak with members of different types of affinity groups.
Ask an LGBT, ask a Muslim.
Ask a black dude.
It's your big chance. Ask a Caucasian.
I thought we were not supposed to say Mexican.
Do you like white people?
Ask an international student. Man, I have a lot of questions for you guys.
Is there anything you want to know about Caucasians?
All right. Why do white people like to touch black people's hair?
I gotta be honest, I've never been one for, I don't like touching anybody's hair. I don't even like touching my own hair. So.
I have braids. Every time I get them, like, what is so
mystical?
When people are like randomly in middle conversation, you're like,
Does that happen to you a lot?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's weird.
It's so cute, and I'm like, yeah, but this is awkward. Like, you're in my head.
Yeah, this is my personal bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are black girls attracted to white men?
Ooh, now that's a good question that I cannot answer for you because I'm not attracted to them. There could be various reasons. I mean, people are attracted to who they are.
Do you know what LGBT stands for? It stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer questioning.
Okay, my first guess at first.
It's just kind of like the umbrella term for the gay community, but instead of just saying gay, you include lesbian, bisexual, transgender. Yeah, I'm a lesbian, so.
I got a lot of lesbian people in my family, so it's cool.
I think I only have one real question for you. And I really hope it doesn't sound horrible, but how do you feel about pork?
Pork.
Yeah.
It's mentioned in the Quran, which is our holy book, that we are not allowed to eat pork.
So
simple as that.
You just don't eat it, don't touch it, pretty much.
We can't touch it. We can move it around.
If you want to ask me a question, as an LGBT student, how does it make you feel to be marginalized and asked to speak on everyone within the community?
Obviously, I think, the goal of the project is to sort of foster a little bit of discussion of ethnic and other sorts of diversity. In a sense, it's a little bit of a self-parody because, the essence of prejudice is to imagine that one person in a particular group represents the views of everyone in that group.
I'm not really speaking on behalf of everyone in the community.
I don't speak for all of these types.
I don't know how it is to be a black female.
Everybody I know has a different story.
I'm a black male that's pretty old.
I'm speaking based off my own perspective and things that I've witnessed. My experiences by no means are the same as everyone else's.
But, particularly the part that I took part in, it's kind of refreshing, right? You don't often get the situation where one old white guy is taken to represent the views of all old white guys.
Here I am. I'm ready to speak for all white people everywhere.
Why are Taylor Swift and Amy Schumer so popular?
You're really asking the wrong person.
So what's your experiences here?
Yeah, I feel like I've been stereotyped by my name a lot. They just don't expect the me that they get. I don't think any of my professors.
What's your name?
My name is Markiviasha.
Markiviasha?
Yes.
Whoa, that's first. That's the first.
that's my first name.
Wow. Stereotypes are going to happen. There's very little we can do.
There are stereotypes everywhere in the world, If you go to Pakistan, maybe my country, if you go to India, you might go some other Asian country, you will find a stereotype everywhere,
We see you in the Middle East walk and we go like, yeah, he's Christian.
Oh, you're too pretty to be a lesbian.
Who wears the pants in that relationship?
Some people, they have a different look at me when they think I'm Arabic than when they think I'm French.
I come from a culture where a lot of people see me and my brothers as thieves and everything else awful in the book. So how do you feel about kind of the fear and assumptions that all Muslim people are terrorists?
Sometimes whenever I'm walking by, somebody would throw a word like, do you have a bomb under your coat or something like that?
Many Americans and Westerns in general are Islamophobic and think, I don't know, that like allergic to the word Islam or like and allergic to Muslims in general. But they're just people just like you.
All you can do is try to represent your culture, where you come from, in a good way.
Yes, there is terrorists, but they are not Muslims. They might say we are Muslims, but no religion in this world will ask you to do these things.
I don't know, it's just, I know recently with homosexuality being, I guess, promoted and being more common, I see it a lot, like the hatred. I don't know how it is in the white community, but in the black community, like the worst thing you could be is a black gay man, like, and then a Christian, like that is the absolute worst.
A lot of people like to say like homosexuality is an unforgivable sin, and so that really like bothered me, you know, also being gay.
I mean, since I was little, before I told anybody, like it was a prayer of mine, like every day, like Lord, take this away. I don't want it, but I don't know. I feel like it's been something that's been there always.
My friend, he's like a brother to me, and we were so close. We have a joke that we're gonna get married. Well, I have a joke that we're gonna get married because before I knew he was gay, I was like, we're gonna get married because I will love you forever. And I remember he told me about it when we were in the church, and he's like, you know I'm gay, right? And I was like, are you kidding? Just because like we joke. And he's like, no, I'm like, seriously, I'm gay, Haley. And I was like, okay. You know, I was like, are we gonna go get breakfast now or not? And like,
I think how a lot of Christians fail is by not responding in love.
And I think that's the basis of everything we should do, whether they're gay or a different religion or a different race or anything.
In community college, I used to park in the back, and I come to my car and I see my car full of leaves, like full of leaves, all covered in leaves. And it's the only car with leaves. And I take out the leaves and stuff, and underneath it says, go back home, Beaner.
Makes you feel unwanted, like it's not we're coming to take away your jobs or anything. I mean, I'm already American. I'm not taking anybody's job. My family works hard. They don't go and steal. They don't, doesn't work like that, so.
For the longest time, we were taught in school that Martin Luther King came along and racism just stopped forever. But
I totally agree.
I think...
I totally agree.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. They thought that was the end and all, you know, like after the I Have a Dream speech,
yeah,
like that was, all right, racism is forever broken.
Waved a magic wand and poof, it was all gone.
But we still have microaggressions, we still have hidden racism.
I fight that in myself constantly. You know, you wind up with attitudes and feelings, even if you are consciously opposed to them, there are underlying prejudices that you constantly have to kind of bring out and be aware of and say, oh yeah, wait, I'm thinking this because this is like this attitude that isn't really related to anything real. You're not self-aware if you don't recognize that you have some racism.
Because all of us come in like prejudging people. But if you act on those prejudgments, that's what the problem is.
It's something that you gotta realize that you have in you and then work on it. And that will help the situation. I think Black Lives Matter is the group that's really pushing that issue.
When we say, Black Lives Matter,
why do people feel like they can change Black Lives Matter to All Lives Matter?
Why do a lot of people think that we're saying that other lives don't matter?
I think that's because people don't get the problem. I mean, obviously all lives matter, that goes without saying.
Nobody says only Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter also is what we're really saying, because we're not treated the same.
We see people in power acting as if specifically Black lives don't matter as much, which is why, you have to say Black Lives Matter.
So when someone says all lives matter, it's really just sweeping the true issues back under the rug, which perpetuates the problem.
So yeah, I think the whole all lives matter thing is just people not realizing that they're privileged.
How do you feel about white privilege?
It definitely exists. I mean, one of the most pernicious aspects of it is that white people can pretend it doesn't exist. And I mean, for most of my life, I probably didn't even realize that was a thing.
It's very hard for people to understand that it's a thing whenever they've never had to think about it for their entire life. You know, you feel uncomfortable talking about the discussion of race. I live every day being uncomfortable because of my race.
I don't know what it is about me that scares people.
Even every now and then, I walk by a car and I hear the doors locked, and I wouldn't even be paying attention to the car. It's the thing.
You see this young black male, he lock your door, you cross the street.
You know that you don't need to have your hands in your pocket. You know that you don't need to have your hood up.
Walking into a store has to be the worst one.
I'm a 6'4" black man, so my mother taught me after I knock on someone's door, I need to step back or step to the side or don't be so close to the door so when they open up the door, they won't be shocked.
It's just weird to be watched constantly all the time.
Like, I've been followed to my house in my neighborhood that I've lived at for 20 years and that my mom has lived at for 45 years. I've been stopped in my driveway.
I would.
For no reason. You know, and I just wish that, I don't know, people would just not think that we're lying about it.
Yeah. White privilege is being pulled over by the police officer and hearing, "Have a nice day."
And they're like, well, it's not my fault. I don't have anything to do with that. But you benefit from that privilege.
Right.
And you need to acknowledge that.
And I think that's what you just acknowledge is such an important thing, that acknowledge it. You don't have to feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
Because they'll say, oh, it's not my fault. I was born a white man.
Right.
It's like, nope, it's not
Right.
your fault.
Right, exactly.
But acknowledge that
Right.
it gave you this whole little invisible backpack.
Right.
It's
Right.
full of privilege.
Exactly.
Look around you, like just because you've experienced something one way your entire life doesn't mean that is how it is for everybody. It's just a matter of understanding that people have different situations.
If people would talk to each other more, they could learn to understand each other more.
You can ask anything you want.
Ask anything you want.
We can just have a conversation.
Would you like to sit down and join our conversation? You can sit down and have lunch with me if you'd like.
How are you? I'm Abdul.
My name's Kamisha.
Kayana, I'm Tyler.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Karen. Nice to meet you.
We should be able to just go up to each other and talk to each other like it's nothing.
So I think that's a big problem, like, you know, kind of listening to your head and being scared to ask a question or just being scared to talk to somebody. I think just go ahead, talk, ask your question.
The dumbest questions probably end up being the most intellectual conversations that you can ever have.
Talking is the biggest thing, I think.
It's fundamental for coexistence.
We can't learn if we don't take the opportunity to just ask somebody, what's it like to be you?
We just need to stop and think for a second. Put ourselves in that other person's shoes.
Be honest, be uncomfortable, and don't be afraid.
I know that you have an experience, and my experience might not be your experience, but you have one. So I respect that, and I appreciate what you bring to the table.
I don't think we'll ever have perfect, utopia where people don't say ignorant things, but I don't think that means we shouldn't try.
These are issues that we should encourage students to talk about.
In the class, continuing conversations informally outside of it.
It's not something you can just make a video about, and tell the students, hey, this is what's going on.
Continue to provide forums for people to talk about these things.
That's the way we achieve, this issue, this thing that we want.
Start the conversations and ultimately stop the problems.
You want to talk for a minute?
So how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
How easy it is to have a conversation once you actually see something. I think it's going to be all like on Facebook where you say